Good morning, everybody. It's about 7:40 on this TGIF Friday, and you know, surprisingly, when when you post a written version of what you've said before in a video, people respond to it. Now, at times they won't respond because sometimes you probably do such a lengthy written out version of what you said that they're like, man, please give me the abbreviated version. I don't want to read all that. And it's kind of like what I asked in a video about a month or two ago, and that is what exactly, and basically in that video I asked, what do they want? Do they want me to do a video, or do they want me to write out what my thoughts are? But again, surprisingly, when people do write their thoughts or do a written version of, let's say, a video and audio, or an audio I should say, that people do respond. Now, one person at one of the forums kind of pointed out the fact that, she said, Brian, she said basically, BW Roasters, or Brian, she said basically, I understand that you're upset about certain things going on in the comic right now, but you're in your 30s. You shouldn't. Basically, she said, being in my 30s, basically, I shouldn't be this angry over something that's going on. Well, let me explain. Let me kind of explain and retort to that. Kind of give my rhetorical tool. Or let me react to that. Let me give a rhetorical to that. You see, I understand exactly where this person's coming from. Being in my 30s, I shouldn't really be too angry about what's going on, and I should be doing exactly what I say I should be doing, just standing in the middle and letting things play out. And you know what? That's what I'm doing. But just because I'm standing in the middle doesn't mean I can't, voice how I feel. And yeah, again, I might be in my 30s, but there's a lot of people in the 30s that read this comic. There's a lot of people in the 20s. Heck, there's a lot of people in the 40s that read this comic. Heck, if you want to go even further, there was, going to late Ben Hurst, when they first began doing Sat AM, like the first 5 to 6 episodes in, they got a letter from a 50-year-old man who's probably now, in his 70s. Or going on his 70s. So, to say that I'm in my 30s and I shouldn't be, kind of expressing the way I feel, again, I understand that, I get that. But let me point something out. Everybody has said that this comic is an all ages comic. Keywords, all ages. So if it's an all ages comic, sure, you're going to have people older than kids, older than teenagers, people that are fans and readers and subscribers that are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and maybe even a lot higher than that. Sure, you're going to have them probably come out and complain about what's going on. Because, first of all, here's the obvious reason. Yes, the characters that are involved in the situations right now in the comic, we were mainly introduced to in the Saturday morning cartoon known as Sat AM. Yes, that's the obvious reason. That's the obvious truth. And so it's hard for people like us that going on nearly 20 years, folks, to see these characters in a situation to where one character will be like resting in peace, maybe, not really sure, but seriously doubt it. And you have another character who's been turned robotic and can't control what she says or control her own actions because she doesn't have her free will. The thing is, for 20 years, we've been used to seeing them the way they were. We've been used to seeing them act the way they were. Yes, they've had their moments. Some moments we would agree with, and some moments we wouldn't agree with. Yes, you've had different writers write them in ways that we either agreed with or we didn't agree with. But the thing is, we were always used to seeing them the way they were. We were always used to seeing them going out on battles sometimes, or going out on missions. And yes, we did see them evolve a little bit. And like I said, go through phases that we either agreed or didn't agree with. But the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, for 20 years, we were used to seeing them as they were. No matter how much they changed personality-wise, no matter what writers wrote for them or wrote them, we were used to seeing them the way they were. And to say that people like myself want things to be all happy and ho-hum, no, we're not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I want things all happy and ho-hum, no. What I'm saying is, basically what myself and a lot of people that are against what's going on right now, even those at Ian Flynn's own message board, what we're saying is, look, you could have gone in a different direction. You could have had the same results, but you could have done it differently. You could have gone with a different kind of character, or characters in this case, in these situations, whether they were minor or major or not. And you could have had the same kind of effect. That's what we're trying to say. And when I come out and I say that Ian Flynn potentially could be a great writer, I mean that the guy has the skills to someday write one of the most epic stories or issues that we've ever read. Not saying that he's not trying to do that right now, because he probably is, but the thing is, with all due respect, from the eyes of other fans, from what they've seen, he's not really getting there. Yes, he's done a fair job already. He's done a fair job at doing good stories, and if not at times some great stories. But right now he's putting them in a situation. Right now he's got stories going on that, as fans look at it, they're like, this is not what we want. This is not pleasing the fan base. And more so, it's dividing it. It's dividing it, because now you have, as some people point out, what is known as the Amy supporters, if you will, pissing on the fact that Ian Flynn's reasoning for turning Sally into a robot is to put the spotlight more on her. And yes, I agree. I agree. I agree. You can't please everybody. I mean, obviously, you look at the group I'm a part of. You can't please everybody there. But here's the thing: there are some members of that group that are like, look, we like Ian Flynn. We like what he's done in the past. We just don't like what he's doing right now. And all they want, basically, and I know this sounds like they want to be spoiled, but all they want is an answer, a specific answer as to when, or if not a hint, it's a specific answer and a hint as to when, where, and how this is all going to culminate. When, where, and how a certain princess might be restored, and if or how a certain French character is going to survive, and how it's going to be done. That's all they ask for, just hints, not spoils, hints. And again, the whole reasoning for that group, that anti-Mecha Sally group, is due to the fact that, like I said, for near 20 years, they were used to seeing Sally as she was. No matter who wrote for her, no matter who wrote her character, no matter how she was designed, hair, long hair, short hair, they were always used to seeing her the way she was. They weren't used to seeing her like this. And even if she got roboticized, they were more used to seeing it for one issue, if not two, and that was it. They weren't used to seeing her for who knows how long being roboticized. They weren't used to seeing her for who knows how long having her robotic body modified and upgraded to something that in their eyes, as I've mentioned before, even in that written text, may look impossible to change her back from. I'm saying is that, and again, I know I sound like I'm a broken record here. The reason people in the 30s, like myself, people in the 20s, people in the 40s, and even probably a little older than that, the reason they say the things that they do, the reason they're against certain things that's going on in the comic, like say Sally being roboticized and Antron probably being on death's door, if you will, is because for 20 years we were used to them the way they were. Yes, I agree, sometimes you have to shake things up, but the thing is, you could find other ways to shake them up and get the same result. You know, it's like I mentioned in a previous video, Game Boy Sage pointed out the fact that, you know, Ian could have had Sally go on a long year journey to rediscover herself and come back with a different outlook on life. But you know, hey, I'm not the one writing the comic. It's just, you know, I'm not the one writing the comic. Game Boy Sage isn't the one writing the comic. It's just opinion. But again, it's due to the fact for 20 years we're used to the characters the way they were. I mean, yeah, we've seen them go through dark times under the writing of Ian Flynn. Then, you know, back in 2010 and currently, and we're used to seeing dark times. They're being put into dark times thanks to people like Ken Penders and maybe Carl Bowlers. But those dark times weren't scheduled or supposedly scheduled for as long as what Ian's planning in the eyes of many. I mean, yes, he wants to do something epic for 250, leading into 250. I get that. We all do. But again, it could have been done in the eyes of many in a different way with the same kind of results, or probably with different characters. But that's all I'm going to say on it. You know, I know people watching this video may have the difference of opinions, and that's fine. But I'm just letting you people know why people like myself that are in our 30s, in our 20s, 40s, and maybe beyond that are against what we see right now and why we say the things that we do and why we create these groups and stuff like that. So comment down below, tell me what you think, and I'll talk to you all later.